Someone decided a long time ago that you were small and you believed them. Before this is over, you will see exactly how wrong they were. 7 fables follow, and every one of them was laughed at right up until the moment nobody was laughing. The first one you will smile at, the middle ones will feel familiar, and the last one is about you. Do not stop at the one that comforts you, because the one that changes you is near the end. Listen the way you would listen to someone who has already met the giant standing over you. There was a hare so fast it had never once lost a race, and it made sure every animal knew it. It laughed at a tortoise crawling by, slow and heavy, and challenged it to run just to watch it lose. The whole field already knew who would win. The tortoise did not argue and it did not hurry. It simply started walking, one slow step after another, while the hare shot ahead and vanished over the hill. Being underestimated did not slow it down, because it had never been running for the crowd. The hare was so far ahead that it lay down in the shade to sleep, certain the race was already won. Talent that has never been tested always believes it can rest. And while it dreamed, the slow thing it had mocked never once stopped moving. The tortoise passed the sleeping hare without a sound and crossed the line while the whole field watched. Seneca knew that speed impresses, but it is endurance that arrives. The loudest talent in the room loses to the quiet one that simply refuses to stop. You are the tortoise, and they have already counted you out. The faster ones passed you laughing, and you kept walking anyway. Keep your eyes off the crowd and on the line, because the next fable is about the small one they were sure could never matter. A great lion caught a tiny mouse and lifted it, laughing, ready to crush it for sport. The mouse begged for its life and swore that one day it would repay the mercy. The lion roared with laughter that something so small could ever matter to a king. What could a mouse ever do for a lion, it thought, and let the little thing go, only because the joke amused it. It forgot the mouse before the mouse had even reached the grass. The powerful rarely remember the ones they spare, but the spared never forget. Not long after, the lion stepped into a hunter's net and was hauled into the air, roaring, helpless for the first time in its life. All its strength meant nothing against the ropes, and no other great beast came to help. The king of the forest hung there, waiting to die. Then out of the grass came the mouse it had laughed at, and it began to chew one thread at a time. What claws and muscle could not tear, small patient teeth cut through by morning. Marcus Aurelius said to despise no living thing, because rescue often wears the face you mocked. You have been made to feel too small to matter, in the room, at the table, in their plans. But the one they overlook is the one holding the rope when everything they built comes down. Remember that, because the next fable is about reaching what they swore you could never touch. A crow was dying of thirst, and it found a pitcher with a little water pooled far down at the bottom. Its beak could not reach, and no matter how it strained, the water stayed just out of its grasp. A stronger bird would have given up and called the water impossible. But the crow found a single pebble and dropped it into the pitcher, and the water rose the smallest amount. So it found another and another patient where panic would have killed it. It could not change how high it stood, so it changed how high the water climbed. Stone by stone, the water rose until it touched the crow's beak, and the thing that was impossible became a drink. Epictetus said that, "What force cannot reach, patience repeated can." You are not weak because you cannot leap to it in a single jump. You are one small stone short, and you have been calling that last distance defeat. The people who mocked your slow progress never saw that the water was rising the whole time. Drop one more stone, because the next fable is about the ones too proud to bend. A great oak stood at the river's edge and looked down on a thin reed, bending in the wind below it. "Look at you," it said, bowing to every little breeze, while I never move for anything. The reed said nothing, and only bent a little lower as the sky began to darken. When the storm came, the oak set its shoulders and refused to give an inch, proud of its own strength. The reed did the opposite. It bent flat to the ground and let the screaming wind pass straight over the top of it. By morning, the mighty oak lay torn out of the ground, its roots turned up to the sky, snapped by the very strength it boasted about. The reed stood back up, wet and whole, exactly where it had always been. Seneca said the stiff man calls his own breaking a principle. They called your bending weakness, your patience cowardice, your quiet giving in. But you are still standing, and the ones who would not bend an inch are the ones the storm carried away. The next fable is about rising so high that their attacks can no longer reach you. A crow hated an eagle and could not stand to see it fly higher than everything else. So it landed on the eagle's back in the open sky and dug in, screeching, sure it could drag the great bird down. The eagle did not turn, did not fight, did not even seem to notice. Instead of struggling, the eagle simply beat its wings and climbed higher and higher into the thinning blue. It did not waste one feather trying to throw the crow off. It just rose to a height where the fight itself became impossible. The air grew too thin for the crow to breathe, and one by one its wings failed it. It slid off the eagle's back and fell, tumbling back down to the world it belonged to. The eagle never once looked back. Marcus Aurelius said the best revenge is to not become like the one who wronged you. You do not beat the ones dragging on you by rolling in the dirt where they are strong. You climb to a height they cannot survive, and let the thin air do what your claws never could. There was a salmon with one crooked fin, and the whole school laughed at the way it swam. Stay with us, they said. The safe water is here in the middle, where the current is gentle. But the crooked-finned one felt the pull of the hard climb upriver, and it went alone. It fought the current the others feared, up the rapids and over the falls, while they drifted easy and warm downstream together. Every leap tore at it, and every day it climbed a little higher into water no one else would enter. Being alone was not the punishment they thought it was. Down in the gentle middle water where the whole school gathered, the net came all at once, and it took them together, every last one. The warmth of the crowd was only the temperature of the slaughterhouse. Nietzsche knew the herd's comfort and the herd's fate are the same thing. The crowd you are afraid to leave is drifting somewhere you do not want to end up. They mocked the hard road you chose because it frightened them to watch you take it. Keep climbing alone, because the last fable is the one about you, and it is the hardest of them all. Two spiders built their webs on the same wall, one in a sheltered corner, one out in the open where the wind hit it every night. The sheltered spider pitied the other, whose web was torn to threads by every gust. Why suffer out there, it asked, when safety is so easy over here? But every night the exposed spider rebuilt, and every night it learned, until its web was anchored and woven like nothing the wind had seen. What broke it again and again was quietly teaching it to hold. It never chose the storm, but the storm made it unbreakable. Then one strong wind reached even the sheltered corner, and the safe web, which had never been tested, fell apart at the first real gust. The other web, born in the wind, did not even shiver. Marcus Aurelius said the fire feeds on what it burns and only grows brighter. Everything that tore at you was building the only version of you that survives this. The people who had it easy were never tested, and the first real storm will find them. You were not cursed with the hard road. You were forged on it, one broken night at a time. So look back now at all the animals you have been. You were the tortoise they counted out, and the mouse they were too proud to fear. You were the crow raising the water one stone at a time, and the reeds still standing after the storm. You were the eagle that climbed instead of fighting, and the salmon that left the drifting crowd behind. And you are the spider in the wind, rebuilding tonight what will be unbreakable by morning. Every one of them was laughed at, and every one of them was underestimated by someone who is not laughing now. At the start, I told you someone decided you were small, and that they were wrong. The only question left is the one they never wanted you to ask. Who told you that you were small, and why did you ever let them be the judge? These were fables for the falling dark.